and a major city yet to be determined in Russia.
Be it remembered that tribulations lie ahead. There will be wars in one nation and kingdom after another, until war is poured out upon all nations, and 200 million men of war mass their armaments at Armageddon. Peace has been taken from the earth. The angels of destruction have begun their work, and their swords shall not be sheathed until the Prince of Peace comes to destroy the wicked and usher in the great millennium. There will be earthquakes and floods and famines. The waves of the sea shall heave themselves beyond their bounds. The clouds shall withhold their rain, and the crops of the earth shall wither and die. There will be plagues and pestilences and disease and death. An overflowing scourge shall cover the earth, and a desolating sickness shall sweep the land. Flies shall take hold of the inhabitants of the earth, and maggots shall come in upon them. Their flesh shall fall from off their bones, and their eyes from their sockets. Bands of Gadianton robbers will infest every nation. Immorality and murder and crime will increase, and it will seem as though every man's hand is against his brother. We need not dwell more upon these things. We are commanded to search the Scriptures where they are recounted with force and fervor, and they shall surely come to pass. It is one of the sad heresies of our time that peace will be gained by weary diplomats as they prepare treaties of compromise, or that the millennium will be ushered in because men learn to live in peace and to keep the commandments, or that the predicted plagues and promised desolations of latter days can in some way be avoided. We must do all we can to proclaim peace, to avoid war, to heal disease, to prepare for natural disasters. But with it all, that which is to be shall be. Knowing what we know, and having the light and understanding that has come to us, we must, as individuals and as a church, use our talents, strengths, energies, abilities, and means to prepare for whatever may befall us and our children. We know that the world will go on in wickedness until the end of the world, which is the destruction of the wicked. We shall continue to live in the world, but with the Lord's help we shall not be of the world. We shall strive to overcome carnality and worldliness of every sort, and shall invite all men to flee from Babylon, join with us, and live as becometh saints. As the saints of the Most High, we shall strive to stand independent above all other creatures beneath the celestial world. The Lord deliberately withholds from us the day and the hour of his coming, and of the tribulations which shall precede it. We do not say that all of the saints will be spared and saved from the coming day of desolation. But we do say there is no promise of safety and no promise of security except for those who love the Lord and who are seeking to do all that he commands. It may be, for instance, that nothing except the power of faith and the authority of the priesthood can save individuals and congregations from the atomic holocausts that surely shall be. And so we raise the warning voice and say, take heed, prepare, watch, and be ready. There is no security in any course, except the course of obedience and conformity and righteousness. For thus saith the Lord's scourge shall pass over by night and by day, and the report thereof shall vex all people, yea, it shall not be stayed until the Lord come. Nevertheless, Zion shall escape, if she observe to do all things whatsoever I have commanded her, saith the Lord. But if she observe not to do whatsoever I have commanded her, I will visit her according to all her works, with sore affliction, with pestilence, with plague, with sword, with vengeance, with devouring fire.
I have faith that the Constitution will be saved as prophesied by Joseph Smith. But it will not be saved in Washington.
Why was it that Monson was having all these signature documents while he was on his deathbed? What's up with that, Nelson? Can you explain? What about that $32 billion funneled through LLC companies that emerge right around the time Monson dies? What's up with that, Nelson? Is there something you need to confess to the proper priesthood authority? And so, yeah, the church has carried on, and now they're pushing religious freedom, as they're still using tithing as a protection racket for worthiness, as RICO should be able to shut it down, because if you remember, in 1978, the church is no longer racist. Yay! Jesus Christ restored non-racism in the church. But everybody doesn't understand is that later that year, the United States of America, through the congressional process, rescinded the Edmunds-Tucker Act. So guess what the United States did to the church? We already had the civil rights movement, and the United States was threatening the church, saying, hey, you got to allow blacks in. We can't have you continually do this. And so the church said, fine, repeal the Edmunds-Tucker Act. Fine, you do it first, and then we'll do it. You show me yours first. And true to their word, the Edmunds-Tucker Act was rescinded. But the RICO Act still remains. And I keep trying to get the government to do the right thing, and they won't. Government will not shut down the criminal operations of the church, which is sad. That my government would betray us. That the church, as Judas, literally, are paying off governments to murder us. Just like Judas paid off to murder Jesus. Just like Judah paid off and sold his brother. It's the same thing. The church has done that now with money. And Mormons are the victims. Not just me, that they've been paying people off to have assassinated. And that's sad, but yeah, it's the great and abominable church. What did you expect them to do? They want to commit crime. They don't want the American government. They don't want the Constitution. So they paid Putin through tithing for a cover of a religious temple in Russia. Putin didn't use the money for a temple. Still yet to be determined in Russia, isn't it? Yeah, guess what he used the money for instead? Oh, the war in Ukraine, Ezekiel chapter 38. See the chapter heading by Bruce R. McConkie. And I did the video inserts for you from Bruce R. McConkie's talk about having paid in the future for, nukes. Nukes are coming, guys. The church paid for it. See, right now, their government's just talking about the potential for, chemical weapons and cyber terrorism. Yeah, well, nukes are coming, guys. Church paid for it. Why? Well, because nukes will destroy the United States of America and the rest of the world governments. Mutually assured destruction? Yeah. Once Putin does it, everybody else will do it in order to defend themselves and prevent Russia from being the dominant government. All governments of the world destroyed. And the church in this little Salt Lake Valley remains. And Putin and his Russians can move in and do slave mining for uranium in Bears Ears, while the church establishes the Kingdom of Deseret once again, as they call it, Zion, and Russia is the lost 10 tribes coming down from the north. Yeah, we've already seen this. I've done the videos for you guys. This is what they're plotting. And so the world will be at war, and if you aren't in Salt Lake City, you're going to be at war. But this isn't Zion. It's not peace, safety, and refuge. We are being tortured because the church paid 20 pieces or 30 pieces of silver, depending on which parable story you're referring to murder us, to replace us, to weed out the wheat from the tares, the sheep from the goats, wheat from the chaff. But it's not the wheat and those sheep that they're collecting. So, yeah, all to dodge the United States laws and the Constitution, thus the religious freedom movement, as we have now seen the fruits thereof. It's so that they can commit crime, so that they can be racist, they can be sexist, they can be bigoted, they can neglect the poor, because they're a religion. They can commit crime. That's the whole intention of not accepting the First Amendment. That's the whole purpose and point. And remember, when the YouTube shut me down, as cyber terrorists were attacking me, preventing me from even operating my computer to upload videos. I had to lay low for a while. But then the national news came out and exposed the membership of the secret band of Gadianton in America, which included Steve Bannon, who came out with an interview with the Daily Beast in 2016. Yeah, I want to destroy everything. I'm a Leninist. Yay! As well as evangelicals, psychologists, because they're involved too. I've been going over all of this with you guys. And then you have what involves Mormons, both directly and indirectly. Directly, is the Skousen family has been a part of the secret band of Gadianton, And who's in charge of the Joseph Smith papers? Royal Skousen! Yay! And the evangelicals I've tied directly to Dallin H. Oaks, who's had connections with those members. Yay! So his little talk in Virginia about how the United States is mean and awful and needs to allow religious freedom so that Mormons can practice polygamy. That's what he's talking about. He was referring to polygamy, that the church was being denied their religious freedom to practice polygamy in Virginia. This Mormon went on to get a law degree, passed the bar, got licensed to practice, was a prosecuting attorney, became the Supreme Court Justice for Utah, and then was made an apostle, who's talking about overthrowing the government of America and the Constitution of the United States of America. And Mormons don't see this? They're in denial? They support it? Guys, this isn't for you. The church paid to betray you. That's where you become the suckers and losers. And we all know where that phrase comes from, don't we? Book of Mormon is so true. In the first year of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, there was a sign in the heavens for the 23rd of September 2017 from Revelation 12. Right there in the Book of Mormon, in the very first chapter of the very first book, that we were supposed to be the learning of the Jews.